G'day everyone, Jason Nunn from Fisherman's Warehouse Marine, Sweet Street at Warners Bay, your Newcastle Honda marine dealer. And have a look at today. Absolutely perfect. Tomorrow, not so. Coastal showers, west-southwest in the morning, turning southwest, guys, and a real increase in swell with those sporadic showers. Seas 2.5 to 3 metres tomorrow. We're going to have westerly winds on Sunday and sunshine, so that's going to be not too bad at all, but strong winds all the way through to at least next Thursday. At this stage, really 15 to 20 knot westerlies the whole way through. So look, tomorrow not going to be so great. This afternoon out here, we're at Wanji's just behind me here out on the bay with Pat and Sue, of course, my passenger. And the weather is absolutely dynamite, but it's just going to all change. So just be aware of that. Tides this weekend, guys, really important, of course. You've got a 7 o'clock low tide tomorrow and around about a 1:40 high tide. Not too big a tide, around about 1.4, but they're going to build. You've got half a moon on Sunday night, and we're going to run into that full moon next week. Of course, bit of talk about tuna, yellowfin tuna. Well, they did catch a few tuna. The lucky boys that got out, obviously out of Port Stephens or Newcastle, headed out wide on Sunday in some pretty ordinary conditions. I've seen some photos. The sea didn't look real great at all, but some really nice yellowfin. Those high 40 kilo marks, 48 and a half actually, was the biggest. Plenty of promise there, and all of a sudden we had boats go out on Wednesday to no avail, and we even ventured out. There was quite a few, probably 4 or 5 boats out there yesterday along the coast. We went out wide, took the crew, and just couldn't see a tuna for the love of goodness. I mean, we went out and up on the back of the car park, 3304, out to about 600 fathoms. Marlin in front of us tailing, come around, just past the boat as normal, wasn't going to do anything. Dean Crotty, he got in touch with me this morning. He was actually out there and was sent me a message. He dropped the marlin yesterday in the same localities we're in and caught a dolphin fish out in that water. That water temp there, the back of the car park, 20.6 degrees, and in fact a little bit further out it went 20.7. But the further south you went, you started to lose temperature, and we were looking for a temp break, but it just never happened. The water did fade off down to all the southern canyons, around about 18.9, but really lifeless. The most birds we've seen, and I must say there was literally hundreds of gannets pulverising the water in with a lot of dolphins pushing the bait up, was around about 78 to 79 fathoms up the top of the bite. And unfortunately, for most of us in years to come, if the wind farms gets over the line, that's exactly where they'd be, and those poor birds would just get smashed to pieces. And hopefully, again, we just hope that that doesn't really happen. When you see nature at its best like we did yesterday, none of us want to see that destroyed, that is for sure. So no tuna as yet, but bluefin tuna as far up as Sydney and possibly slightly above Sydney. Fish 40 to 70 kilo is generally tends to be the average size of the fish. Multiple hookups, and we don't talk a lot about bluefin because it's not that often that they get up this far. There's the potential that over the next week or two, if the currents stay as they are, we may indeed see bluefin tuna off our part of the coast, down off Swansea, southern canyons down towards Terrigal. Keep you updated on next week's forecast, but things are looking pretty good, and that would be a great surprise for most, and it'd be fantastic to get out there and get amongst those bluefin tuna. In on the farm, got another report today. Jason, one of my regulars, sent me a message. He fished down on the Texas on Wednesday. Not a lot of size to the Kings, guys, unfortunately at the moment, 55s to 65s. The odd bigger one busting the guys up. Live baits, I reckon, are the key. Maybe a little bit of jigging, but still getting a few longfin perch and some nice reds. You come back on the farm and got some reds up to 55 centimetres. And that's what you're going to see on that deeper water stretch now. Some really good snapper, and I'm a good mate, Luke Stansfeld. I was speaking to him this week, obviously, when we were fishing on yesterday. And some really nice fish were coming in from down that Texas way. Trag and some really nice reds. So the deep water is fishing quite well on the inshore. I spoke to young John Hanley yesterday as we come back in. He was up towards Redhead late in the afternoon. Some nice squire, 35s to 45s. As that tide makes into next week, and hopefully if we don't get a lot of swell with that westerly wind, that inshore fishery off our part of the coast will be perfect as that tide gets later into the afternoon. Those squire that we're starting to see, and no doubt there'll be some snapper on that tide, on those inshore reefs, are really looking good. One of the things that is down the Texas at the moment, there's a few bonito as well. No bonito coastally, and I haven't heard of anything like barracuda, our southern enemies, coming up and really toweling everyone up. But offshore, not looking too bad. Just tomorrow is going to be a little bit dicey, I reckon. On the beaches, some good reports of some really nice tailor along our Belmont Blacksmith stretch, and a lot of salmon up towards the breakwater. I know that there was a lot of salmon up on the breakwater over the weekend, or just out off the breakwater, more towards the Black Reef there off the Surf Club, and the dolphins were really getting into them. So those salmon are spasmodic, just coming in and out of Salts Bay, but there was a big patch of salmon down basically on the western side of the airport itself, right in the centre. So you've got the main channel over there near the Marine Rescue, and then you've got that main patch there. On that run-in tide, there's a lot of salmon through there. So if you're not doing any good in Salts Bay, guys, just come back down the channel. The westerly wind will give you plenty of protection there. And obviously next week, of course, we've still got another week of school holidays. So some really good fishing on salmon in the channel. So lakeside of the channel, probably preferred. And there are salmon all the way down in from basically the Air Force Channel down to that western cardinal marker there, or eastern cardinal marker actually, what we call the bumblebee, down here at the Air Force Channel. There's a few tailor there, but mainly a lot of salmon. On the lake here, we could smell fish when we come over here just a minute ago. A few birds working down here in Wangi Bay as well. So definitely a few tailor around and a few salmon, but there's some really nice fish on that southern end of the lake. Pulborough Island over towards Sunshine, that area there, and definitely down towards Camsey. Some really nice tailor getting caught, mixed in with quite a few salmon. Still plenty of flathead around on those bait schools, guys, and of course working those bait schools, the added advantage of that, using vibes and soft plastics, but still some very, very nice mulloway mixed in. Now my good mate Bobby Mabray sent me a text this morning, a couple of great photos, never got any crabs, but he got 7 crabs the other day and he got 10 yesterday, bluefin crabs. So there's still some very nice bluefin crabs in the lake, and at this stage of the game, remember, those bluefin crabs are not mating, so they're full of meat, and there's not a lot of traffic around. I mean, there's a bit of, we're moving around a little bit as a boat just went past then, but still, don't forget winter, you can still catch your bluefin crabs. Now for the night fishermen, coming onto that moon's not too bad, but we're getting a lot of very good bream. Back of the flats over here down toward Nesca Park, and as we start to run into that full moon next week, those tides will start to increase. When we start to get those bigger tides after dark, you're going to see a real pickup in those bream numbers, particularly where you've got running water. The moon doesn't affect them. It's not so much the dark. I think in that running water you tend to get too much phosphorus coming off the line and lighting up the line, whereas over there it'll be pretty good on that moon and it'll just take the edge off. All in all, guys, looks pretty good. A little bit more wave action out here, but look at the lake. It is absolutely picture perfect. Get out there. Tomorrow's going to be a bugger. Sun, the old winds won't be too bad. Westerlies, and if you hear of a yellowfin tuna, let me know, because we did no good. I'll see you next Friday.